Mr. Chairman, thank you for holding this hearing, and Secretary Foxx, thank you also for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here today. We have the Las Vegas Metro Chamber of Commerce in town this week, and they held a function last night in the Kennedy Caucus Room, unlike function I think ever been held in that caucus room before. But it was kind of interesting, the dynamics of bringing Las Vegas Chamber of Commerce into Washington, D.C. Las Vegas is a can-do city. Anything you want, anything you think can happen in that town, in that city, will happen. To have them come to Washington, D.C., where nothing happens, was quite a dynamic, and I would hope that they would come more often. Maybe they'd have some influence on our city out here in Washington, D.C. But here's my question. You know, there's a couple hundred of them, and at that event last night, their interest obviously is that corridor, the I-11 corridor legislation that I pushed in the FAST Act, and I don't have to tell you the importance of it. Two largest cities in America, Phoenix and Las Vegas, without a freeway between them. And you can imagine the economic development that would occur in the Southwest if you could connect those two cities. And it's not just the connection between Las Vegas and Phoenix, but all the way down to Tucson and all the way up to the Canadian border. And that's the plan. They want to know, and I have to meet with them tomorrow. If you were meeting with them, I guarantee you the first question they're going to ask is, how long is it going to take to get that corridor between Phoenix and Las Vegas? What's the answer to that? Today?
Ooh,
I know that's
no pressure. You're meeting with them tomorrow.
The question I'm going to be asked.
Senator, we understand the importance of this corridor, and your leadership on moving the process forward has been absolutely critical. And I'm sure you're aware that MAP 21 did provide a portion of it being designated. The FAST Act, as you point out, through your efforts, designates the portion between Arizona and Nevada. There is a working group that we have been part of convening that is looking. I think the biggest constraint, to be honest with you, is not just the planning and the design, but it's also identifying the federal and state funding sources for the project. And we're going to continue being at the table with Arizona and Nevada until we figure that out with them, and in identifying flexibilities that may support the advancement of the I-11 corridor. So we are working with them. I think that something like a tiered NEPA analysis is currently under discussion. We're going to do everything we can to help move things forward. Getting the planning is part of it, but I think getting the resources in place is going to be the biggest challenge.
The first section of that is the Boulder City bypass, and that is taking federal, state, and local dollars in order for that to occur. So I think Nevada, Boulder City, Las Vegas, they're doing everything they possibly can to get ahead of this thing. Tell me a little bit more about this working group. How do they prioritize these high-priority corridors like the I-11 and other projects?
Well, we always work based on what the local jurisdictions want to do. And in this case, you do have a demand that is coming from both states, and getting them coordinated and figuring out how to jointly plan a project of this magnitude and how to jointly go through the permitting process and using the levers we have to try to accelerate that. That's some of the work that is currently ongoing. Again, I think some of the biggest challenges are going to be each state looking at its complement of transportation projects and figuring out how it can fit in the resources to do these projects. And of course, where we have the ability to help on the funding end, we're going to be looking for ways to help out.
Okay, okay. Because I'm just trying to figure out, is there any way of streamlining this process? And I'm sure that's
Yes.
what the working group is all
Yes.
about.
Yeah.
Try to get through this NEPA program.
Yep.
I guess the question is I don't have an answer yet. 2 years, 10 years, 20 years, how long does a project like, we haven't, produced a new federal highway to this extent in decades.
Yeah. I would separate the planning and design elements from the funding element, and I would say that, we can move as fast as the locals can move as they work through the alignment issues. We're already trying to help accelerate the NEPA process, and so we will continue doing that type of work. think on the funding side of it, we are constrained by what we have available. The FAST Act does provide additional formula dollars to each state for freight projects. In theory, this could be considered for that. We have guidance that we put out this year. And to the extent our discretionary programs could support and help, we will obviously consider any opportunity to help.
Mr. Secretary, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, my time has expired.